We've been talking about this all week. Iran and sanctions, secondary sanctions. I want to bring in Richard Goldberg. He's a senior advisor at the Foundation for Defense of Democracy and served on the National Security Council during President Trump's first term. And you are bullish on this economic approach to combating Iran and the Iranian regime, are you not?
Yeah, I think this is exactly the way to go. I believe that ever since we went to ceasefire from major military operations, it made a lot of sense to me if we had achieved most, if not all, of the military objectives, that which we could hit with our munitions from the air and sea above ground, that which we could hit below ground, that you then move for the rest of the mission to focusing on the Strait of Hormuz and using the economic power of the United States to force either collapse or capitulation, and at the same time use the U.S. military to help enable more and more shipping out of the Strait of Hormuz on our terms without having to pay an extortion racket. So, if you look back, back to the beginning, military objectives on the nuclear program, on the missile program, most of those achieved, not all, but most of them. Obviously, we're not able to penetrate certain underground facilities for the missile cities and the command and control bunkers. I think a lot of the reason why we ceased major military operations. But now, even post-MOU falling apart, because the U.S. military has focused on the Strait of Hormuz, you're seeing more and more oil coming out of Hormuz on our terms, even though they're shooting at them, they're getting out, and a naval blockade still in force. You add on what Secretary Besson has announced here, if you're really able to latch down every hatch that is open here, all the escape paths from the naval blockade, air, land, various financial banking mechanisms, they're out of money. You're already seeing the long lines because there's gasoline shortages. That's either going to bring them to collapse or capitulation, or certainly to an extent where if we keep getting oil out, they're not in a position to continue to wage war.
Richard, what does this look like? Because we still don't have the core specifics, and we still don't know to what extent China or its banks or other mechanisms that flow through China are going to be touched.
Well, that's right. I mean, if I were running this, I would look at this in various concentric circles, right? So you have the immediate neighbors of Iran right now. Where would they look to smuggle? Where would they look to have evasion? Obviously, you have overland smuggling possibilities. So you're looking at Pakistan, you're looking a lot at Turkey, and of course, you're looking at Iraq. And across the Gulf, historically, the UAE has been a major source for transshipment and sanctions evasion through banking access. So right there in the Gulf area, right on their borders, whether it's Armenia, anybody else, you're having conversations about shutting down cross-border trade, shutting down access to cash, hard capital, and also you're also looking even further beyond about air routes. Now you're looking, at Europe, where branches of Iranian banks still have openings, where Iranian flights that could be smuggling cash are still able to land and fly back and forth. You're having those conversations. And yes, of course, China. Yep. But, there's no oil coming out of the Strait of Hormuz for the Iranians right now. There is some oil that came out during the MOU that could continue to have sales. And anything else that we're not seeing behind the scenes on the barter side, I would expect the Chinese publicly to say, no way, Jose, we're not doing this. But what matters to President Trump is what the Treasury Department tells him is happening actually in private.
Richard Goldberg, I appreciate the time very much. Thank you.